Shalom. I'd like to give an all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Shai. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, who continue to teach us this truth. And the salutations to you Akim out there doing the work of Yahweh Shem Shai sincerely. Alright, this is Brother Kakam coming at you with part 3 of the lesson Dangerously Idle. Alright, I'm just going to get right to the scriptures. This is Matthew chapter 7, verse 13, and it says, "Enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there will go thereat." Exactly. So the word straight here, let's actually do a quick search. Salakia. So the word straight, according to Oxford's, not Oxford, but Google, Oxford Languages, on Google, it says a narrow passage of water connecting two seas or two other areas of water. Let's go into images. So straight is essentially meaning narrow. Alright? It says, "Enter ye at the strait gate," a narrow gate. Then it says, "For wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth into destruction." Alright, so the gate, alright, and the way that leadeth into destruction is wide, meaning that it's ready to take in many people. You know, if you go to a place and the doors are very big or the gates are very wide, what does that mean? That this facility or wherever is expecting a lot of people, and that's exactly it. It's broad. Alright, it's a broad way that leadeth into destruction, and many there will go in thereat. Exactly. But that straight gate, only certain men are going to be able to go through it. Verse 14, it says, "Because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, there are few there be that find it." You know, there's going to be very few people who are able to go through the gate, towards unto life. There's going to be very few. That's why the gate is narrower. All right. And actually, there's another scripture I was looking for. Let me see. Because Salakia. Let me see. Second Ezra 7. Seven and 7 through 17. Slacky for that. Just wanted to bring this because a brother brought this up to me, and I meant to put it in this lesson. This is Second Ezra, connecting with the scripture in Matthew. Matter of fact, let me finish that in Matthew, and then come back to Second Ezra. So this is Matthew chapter 7:14, and it says, "Because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it." Exactly. So it's it's a narrow path. It's a narrow pathway, and only certain men are going to be able to go through it. This is Second Ezra chapter 7 verse 7, connecting beautifully connecting to the scripture in Matthew. It says, "The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were fire on the right, and on the left a deep water, and only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could be one man go there at once. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger said before, how shall he receive this inheritance?" All right, so then being in this truth, this walk, all right, being faithful in a faithless world is what? It's like walking a narrow path where there's fire on one side and a deep water in the other one. In fact, the path is so narrow that only one man can walk through it at a time. And then it says, if the city that's on the other side of this straight path was given to a man for an inheritance, but he never went through anything to get it, then is it really an inheritance? How is he going to receive that inheritance, He needs to show that he's worthy. And you show that you're worthy by what? By walking that straight path and keeping balance. Because ultimately, that's what's going to help you get through that path. It's going to be balance. You can't go too much to one side, or you're going to fall in the deep water and drown, or you're going to fall on the other side and you're going to burn. This is verse 10, and it says, "And I said, It is so, Lord. Then he said unto me, Even so also is Israel's portion. Because for their sakes I made the world, and when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail, and they are but few, and evil, full of perils, and very painful." All right. It says, "For the entrances of the elder world were made wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. If then they that live labor not to enter these straight and vain things, they can never receive those that are laid up for them." All right. So in other words, Ezra was having a conversation and asked them, "Oh, like, is that so?" "It is so." And the Lord responded and said, basically, this is the situation for Israel's portion. All right. Because the Lord made the world for Israel's sake. But what did Adam do? What did the first man do? He transgressed. All right. And then it says, "Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail, and they are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful." All right. So the entrances, all right, were made narrow. All right. They were made very painful. The world, essentially the world, let me read, Slakia. I'm not 100% confident in that breakdown, so I'm just gonna move on from this scripture. I'm gonna clip it at verse 10. I'm gonna clip it at verse 10, and I'm gonna have to ask for guidance on the rest of the breakdown for that. But from 7 to 10, one more time, this is 2 Ezra chapter 7, verse 7. It says, "The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water, and one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water so small that there could but one man go there at once. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before, how shall he receive this inheritance? So we're going to have to go through this hard and arduous journey to get to our city of inheritance. And what's that city of inheritance? Ultimately, is talking about the kingdom of heaven. Said, and I said, it is so, Lord. Then said he unto me, even so also is Israel's portion. So this path was a long and arduous path. It's not an easy one. And it's one that involves a lot of mistakes. It's one that involves a lot of pain. All right. It's one that involves having good balance. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5. It says, examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. So we need to examine ourselves continually and see whether or not we are in the faith or not. And that's something that I've had to do in more recent times, kind of give that check-in within yourself. And fortunately, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, despite my shortcomings, I still have that fear and I still believe. I'm just out of balance. It says, prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Yahushua HaMashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates. Exactly. So, you don't want to be a reprobate. You should know that Yahushua HaMashiach is in you. You should be thinking about the Lord. You should be thinking about the kingdom. You should be scared of the Lord. You should be fearful of the times to come. And if these are things that are not going through your head consistently or, even semi-consistently, then there's something seriously wrong. There's a chance that you may be a reprobate. So I'm gonna end the lesson with this scripture. It says, Proverbs chapter 21, verse 16, it says, the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. Exactly. And that's a forewarning to me. Because this scripture says, well, the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding, which implies that the man had the way of understanding. It says, the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of dead. So if you wander out of the way of understanding, you had it, and you wander away, then you're going to be in the congregation of the dead. You're going to stay in the congregation of the dead. And what does that mean? All right, it means that you're going to be missile food, essentially. You're going to be missile food. And the Lord's going to come and destroy you with a swift destruction. All right. So, I hope this lesson was edifying for someone. I know I cut myself a bunch of times in this lesson, but that's all in the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. It's not personal. So I like to give in all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, the waters to the apostles and elders of great millstone who rule well, and the salutations to you, Akim out there. All right, staying diligent. And until next time, shalom.